Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to my Foundation Galactic Frontier content. So today, folks, I'm going to do something that a lot of my subscribers have been asking for. They've been saying, hey, Mirandus, why don't you do a hero tier list? And let's talk about the heroes, the champions, so we know who's good and we know who's not, and we know who not to waste our precious resources on. Because I'm telling you, it seems like it's easy at the start whenever you're leveling up your heroes because they go fast with the low amounts of food and with the hero tokens and the shards and all that stuff. But that quickly ramps up. And whenever you start to get into the top levels of hero advancement, you quickly see how those things add up really quick. Let's just take Zora, for example. To promote her now in her red stage, I need 40 per promotion, and it's just going to keep on going up of her shards. She's actually a character that's kind of hard to get shards for because she's a little bit on the pay-to-win side. You can use the hero medals on her, the generic universal ones, but these are going to be precious. You're going to need these everywhere. So it's a tough one, and she is somebody that you're definitely going to want to level up, though. But you get it, what I'm trying to say about the resources becoming scarce and really precious. So pro tip number one, the main thing you need to do to make sure that you can progress your account and have the best success you can with your account is you need to be really careful with your hero leveling resources. And that's why I want to give you a tier list so that you can know what I think is good and what I think can kind of slide for the time being. Now, there is one thing that we need to discuss before we talk about which heroes are good and which are not. I mean, they're all good, but which ones are optimal and which ones are not, actually, is what I'm trying to say. There are a couple of things that you need to understand about the heroes. The first thing you need to understand is that the heroes have a certain synergy, a certain type of attack that they specialize in. Each hero will either be kinetic, ion, or the beam type of weapon power. They'll be one of the three. And that is something that you really need to pay attention to because there is never going to be a situation in this game, so far from what we've seen, where mixing and matching the attack types in a team together will be optimal. You will be optimal if you keep these synergies in mind. This one is kinetic, this one is kinetic, this one is kinetic, this one is kinetic, and this one is kinetic. And those are the ones that you need to choose from when you're making a fleet of 3 heroes for a kinetic ship. Now, that also brings us to our next point, which ties in with that synergy that is super important, and that is the fleets. The fleet ships themselves, depending upon a certain component that you have slotted on them, will have an attack type designation too. Whatever the central core is that you have slotted on your ship will determine what that ship's attack style power is. Right now you can see for my gram, I have kinetic slotted on this ship. That means that this ship is going to follow the kinetic attack pattern, and heroes that follow the kinetic attack power plan will do best on this ship. It would not be wise for you to put your core as kinetic and then slot ion heroes, for example, because the bonuses will not synergize as well. Keep the synergy of your ship and the synergy of your heroes in mind. Okay? You can see right now, my fleet that I have on my kinetic ship is all kinetic heroes. That is something that is crucial to keep in mind when you're thinking about building the optimal team. Now, with that said, let's start talking about the heroes themselves. All right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use the standard tier list maker like, everybody usually does. And this is just so good that it's hard to not use this to be able to do this. There's a standard template already made at this website, so props to them for creating such a usable tool that makes it really easy to do. Now, honestly, I don't think that there are any heroes in this roster, in this game, that are horrible. I think they're all good, honestly. And I think that some shine more than others. But there are no heroes in this roster that I would point to and typically say, ew, that one's bad. Don't ever use that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this bottom row of the tier list to put a few heroes that I cannot legitimately speak on because I do not have them yet. I didn't want to make this video until I had a chance to actually play the game and learn the heroes so that I could speak intelligently about what I'm trying to learn and what I'm trying to convey here. I don't want to be that guy like a lot of the other creators that just jump on a game and immediately start making tier lists when they don't have a clue who's good and who's not. They're just trying to get a video out there. I want to convey some really good information for you to help you understand who you might want to think about spending your resources on. So I wanted to wait until I actually played the game a little bit and started to learn. But for me, there are a few heroes that I either have not leveled and used yet, excuse me, or I have not been able to summon, and I don't want to talk about, even though they are some of the optimal teams. I still don't have them, and I don't really know them, so I don't want to, speak about them if I'm not familiar with them. So I'm not saying these three heroes right here are bad, and there's actually one more that I'm not seeing on the tier list, and that's kind of like the really athletic female of the bunch. This one right here, she's not on there as well. I would put her on that bottom row as well because honestly, you can see I haven't put any effort into these heroes. I haven't summoned these two. I haven't put any levels into her yet. I just unlocked her actually yesterday. And this one I've only put 60 levels into, and the only reason I did that for her was because I needed to get some points for an event. And leveling a hero was one of the ways to do that. So I slammed 60 levels into her real quick to help me make that milestone. I don't intend on using them right now because, as you can see, I don't have any rank in them. So even though they're part of the optimal team for their type, beam and ion, I don't have work put into them yet, so I'm kind of hesitant to use them. So with that said, I want to go ahead and talk about the ones that are good and why. This one right here, I'm going to go ahead and put down here as a hero that's possibly good, but somebody I have never put any effort into because there's just so many better choices. So she is a hero that if you do not have a lot of these other legendaries to make up the composition that she's a part of, maybe you use her, but I finally learned that focusing my resources on the ones that were good was the smartest play, and quit wasting resources leveling up other heroes that I'm not even going to use. So I'm going to put her down here as a C because for me, she just really has no use. I haven't used her in a fleet. I haven't used her on the ground, and she's basically just taken up a spot in the roster and for no reason for me. So that one, she may be good. I don't know, but I don't use her, so I'm going to call her a C. Now, one of the next heroes that I want to talk about is Lucius. He makes up a good composition on a team for me, and I'm going to put him as a B because while he is not the most exciting hero in the game, he is a good beam team champion. He is an epic, but when you go to look at who makes the good composition of a beam team, you've only really got 3 choices at the start of the game. You've got Doug, you've got Clara, and you've got Lucius, and that's it. So you're pretty much roped into having to use Lucius to put him on your beam team, because remember we talked about the synergy. The synergy of the hero and the synergy of the ship is important. Each fleet can have 3 heroes on it, and at the start of the game for quite a while, these are the only 3 you have to choose from in that synergy beam. So Lucius is going to be somebody you're going to use. Whether or not you put a lot of effort into him, I don't really know if you do or not, but I have put some effort into him because he's part of one of my fleets. I have to level him up. I don't really have a choice. Same thing for Fade. He's a good character, and he's not like the most optical character in the game. He does have a good skill that helps buff his allies' damage, but he is an ion character. And for you, like me, he's probably going to be one of the 3 that you slot on your ion ship. You have a choice at the start of the game of Jody, Kama, or Fade. And that's it. You don't get this one unlocked until later. So you're pretty much, your ion team is set for you right at the start of the game. Now, eventually, you will get the ability to unlock Lily, and she is one of the top heroes in the game once she's leveled up, but that is a pay-to-win hero that a lot of us will probably never see in our roster because we don't have the ability to use universal hero medals on her. You cannot use them. You can see the icon is gone right here because she cannot use universal hero medals. It has to be her individual medal. So she is a strict pay-to-win hero. So if you're pretty much like me, for the Ion team, you're forced to use Fade. So he's definitely somebody that you're going to utilize. So he goes on B. Now, he's useful, he's good, he makes a good solid addition to that team, so he gets B. He's not amazing, he doesn't bust the world or anything, but he's good. So I can't very well put him down here, so he's there for me. Now, the next choice that I'm going to say is Clara. I'm honestly going to say that she's right here because let's look at her too. She is part of your essential beam team, and she is pretty good hero. She is an epic though, so she doesn't get props for being a legendary. She is just an epic, and eventually the epics will get outshined by the legendaries in all regards. As they level, they will just be stronger. That's just the way these games go. She's an essential part of the team. She's actually part of your main story, so you'll see her a lot. But her skills are good, but they're just not amazing. So she really doesn't rank up to a higher tier. She stays at the B level for me. But she is essential, just like Lucius, just like Fade. You have to have her, so she gets a B. Next is going to be one of the people that I'm going to go ahead and slot into the A tier for the first time. I'm going to call Jody one of the A team members because Jody is super good. She is also a crucial component of your Ion team. Her skills are great. She's part of the main story. And you know what? I think I'm actually going to rethink that positioning, and I'm going to go ahead and put her up to S. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons for me that Jody goes ahead and breaks the barrier from A to S tier is because not only is she essential for this style of fleet. She is also part of my ground team, which is another designation that she gets to carry that a lot of the other heroes do not. Whenever you start to do ground combat, you're going to look at trying to build a ground team of damage dealers for the most part. The most effective way to do the ground battles in this game is with 3 DPS characters, 3 damage per second characters, because these ground battles are all about killing enemies, and they're usually about getting the highest damage score possible so that you climb up the rankings. You only do that if you build a strong team of 3 DPS. Jody is DPS. She's a damage dealer. She is a legendary. She can become quite strong, and her shards are also grindable in the game. You're able to get her shards through some of the mechanics that you can do in the game. So this puts her at S tier for me because she serves multiple roles. She's a hero that you're going to invest a lot of your resources in. You can also get her resources in the game quite easily. So she's definitely a hero that's going to be powerful for you and very, very useful. So she fills the bill for an S tier hero. Now, I'm going to talk about one of the other heroes, and I'm going to put Eva as A. This is a tough call for me because Eva is actually a super good hero. As part of a kinetic team, she will be part of your core kinetic team for a long time until you get the option to replace her. But there's honestly not really a good replacement for a legendary kinetic hero at this time. My main kinetic fleet is Zora, Cocoon, and Eva. There's just really not a better choice as a kinetic hero that you can replace her with. There's this one, but she's an epic. Eva will outclass her as a legendary. And then there's Rion. He could be a good replacement for her until she gets to the point that she levels past him, and then she will surpass him in power. But he is a good hero. So I will have to say some people do use him instead for a little while until they get her powered up. One of the things about Eva, though, that kind of brings her down for me just a little bit, though, is the fact that she's not part of my ground team. Even though she is kind of a DPS hero, she's not part of my ground team. She is just part of one of my main fleets. So she does not fill a dual role. And her shards are just a little bit on the pay to win side. You can get shards for her in the game, limited amount, not a whole lot. And then you have to buy them through packs to level her up later. This can make her kind of lag behind in the power rankings of your squads because you're not able to level her as much as you would be some of the other heroes like a Jody. So this kind of bumps down her usefulness for me, and I'm going to go ahead and make a tough call and slot her at 8, even though she's a legendary. Another hero that I think is probably on the S tier all day long is Cocoon. Now, one of the reasons why I put Cocoon on the S tier as one of the top heroes in the game is for many reasons. She will get you through a lot of content that you're having trouble beating with your DPS team. Ground combat especially is what I'm referring to. For 80 to 90% of the ground battles that you do in the Radiant missions, in the planet battle missions on the ground, you can get through that, and then some of the events like the robot kill and those kind of things. You can get through those events with your DPS team very well, but there will be times where you will need Cocoon to get you out of trouble, especially when you hit boss battles on the Radiant missions, especially is where she shines. There are times when you will hit a boss battle and you will get a boss that is so tanky that your DPS really struggles to kill it before it kills you, especially when you get to the point that you hit your power wall where you're really pushing the edge of the content that you're just not quite strong enough for, but you can almost beat it. Cocoon is the thing that can push you past that because she is so strong as a tank. She can take so much damage and she can soak up so much damage from the boss that she will allow your DPS team to do their job. It gives defense buffs to your DPS team to keep them alive. A lot of people use her in their ground team to push content, and they consider her just part of the ground team. I personally like to stick with the DPS ground team because that allows me to do events that require me to get the best score and that kind of thing, like a port battle type event where you hit the boss and you only have a minute or two and you want to do as much damage as possible. I will go all DPS. But for a Radiant battle where you're hitting a boss, it may be wise to slot Cocoon in, okay? So that's one of her major roles that she fills. She will also be one of your essential party members for the best kinetic team in the game. When she's on your kinetic fleet ship, she is strong. She will give you good defense, and when her abilities go off, she will buff the ship to where it makes it a lot harder to kill. She's also one of the best legendaries to have on the kinetic fleet team. So she's not going to be outslotted pretty probably ever until they release a new hero because she's just that good. She is a legendary. She is strong. And then another reason that I really like her is because you will be able to power her up to the highest ranks because you can get a lot of her shards in game through exploration, through missions, through the store. You can buy her in some of the stores. You're going to be able to get a lot of shards of Cocoon. So Cocoon is going to be a highly usable hero for you. So she definitely makes the top tier, S tier ranking, in my opinion. Next, we're going to have Doug. Doug, I'm going to put on the A tier because he is a legendary. He is a critical component of your beam team because he's one of the best choices for a beam team as far as a legendary because he is the only legendary that's available for the beam team until you unlock Aaliyah. Aaliyah will be a good replacement to put on that beam team later, but she will not replace Doug. She'll go alongside with Doug. So Doug is always going to be a hero that you want to put resources into. Maybe you do your main players first, and then Doug kind of gets the B level treatment on the resources, but he's definitely one that's going to need to be taken to the top level because he's going to be a critical part of your team. He's not going to be for your ground team, but he is going to be an always component of your beam fleet team. He has a good heal ability, which will allow ships to actually, that he's a member of, heal during combat. So that can be very useful, making that fleet especially tanky. But yes, he is definitely just A tier for me because he's great, but he could be a little better, but he's not amazing. But he is good and he is necessary. So he is A tier, just like Eva. She's good. She is necessary. She's A tier for me. Now, one of the other heroes that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to surprise you, but I'm going to put Rion up here on the A team list. Now, you think I'm crazy because I haven't really leveled Rion to the highest levels, and you can see that I'm lagging behind putting him in some levels into him, and you wonder, why is Miranda's putting him on the A tier? Well, the reason is because he's just good. That's all there is to it. The only reason I don't have him leveled up more is because I have put more work into my other kinetic heroes than I have him. So they are the obvious choice for my best fleet team, or else he would be on that fleet. There are very, very strong fleets that have Rion as part of their fleet because his abilities are damage and he synergizes well with other damage dealers. He buffs them and he helps them do more damage as well also. So he's a very solid addition to a kinetic fleet if you don't have an Eva leveled up. This would be the one that you would probably swap him out for until you get her to the point that she starts to get some serious might, because he is a good replacement for her. He's also pretty easy to level up in game because you can get a lot of his shards and you can level him up. As you can see, I have him almost all red, and these are all shards that I've gotten from gameplay, not buying his packs at all. There are no packs that I've seen for him yet, but it's all through gameplay. So you can level him up pretty good. As he's an epic, you can get a lot of universal hero shards to be able to put on him. He will take those. So he can be a very solid crew member. He also makes an outstanding DPS member for a ground team. So if you're short on a Zora, or if you're short on a Jody and you need somebody really good to put in your ground team, I have seen a lot of ground teams do a lot of damage with Rion, with a leveled up Rion. So he's a solid addition, and I'm just going to say he's an A team because he makes a great fleet member in a pinch. He makes a great ground battle team in a pinch. And some people have made really effective use of him. There's some surprising people in our guild that have him as part of their fleet team, and they're very strong. So I think Rion goes there all day long. The next hero I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to surprise you with this one. You'd think I'd put her at A tier, but she's going to go to S, and that's Kama. Kama is a unique hero. As you can see, I have her leveled quite a bit, almost to max level. And she is a hero that is going to be very effective for you because you can get a lot of her shards in game through grinding. She is a very grindable hero. She is somebody that you can work up the ranks very well, very quickly, and it will allow you to have somebody that is super strong that you can slot in most situations. As an epic, she will eventually be outmatched by legendary heroes as they get to around the same rank as her. Whenever a legendary gets to this rank, they're going to be super strong compared to Kama. But for the majority of the new players playing the game for the first month, easy, she is one of the best characters to put on your Ion fleet and your ground team. She is to this day still a member of my 3-person DPS ground team because she does a lot of damage. She has a really good AoE that hits multiple enemies at a time, and she does super, super good damage. So for my bread and butter ground team, I have Zora, Jody, Kama. Those are my 3 DPS that I use. You can see that I have them all 3 up to level 115, which is the maximum I can go right now based on the level of my energy core. And I have put a lot of work into her ranks. If you look at her power rating, she's 839,000 versus my favorite, 855,000 Zora. So she is a serious player. She is one of the best people to have on your ground team, in my opinion, once you put some work into her and get her skills leveled up. She is one of those people that you can safely put a lot of resources into her fleet skills, and then you can feel comfortable about putting a lot of resources into her ground combat skills too, because she is going to be one that you use for those areas always, if you're smart anyway. I mean, she's an obvious choice for that. So that is why, and sorry, I keep going back to that screen. That is why I have slotted her as an S tier hero for me, in my opinion. I think she's S tier all day long. One of the best heroes in the game. She is probably the easiest hero to rank up, in my opinion, because you get so many of her shards. Excuse me. You get so many of her shards when you are out exploring the map. You will see how many of her you get, and it's just insane. And you would be wise to spend those resources on her and get her leveled up, because she's going to be useful for you for a long time until you finally get to the place that you get your legendaries leveled up and you can replace her. That's going to be a while, because she gets so strong that she's hard to replace for most players for at least a month. I'm 2.5 weeks in on the server that I'm on, and I have no timeline for replacing her that I can see right now, other than a couple weeks out, maybe, if that. So I'm saying she is good all day long. Now, me personally, when I make tier lists, I always like to save the best for last. And in my opinion, this is the hero of the game right here. This is the GOAT. In my opinion, Zora is the best hero in the game. She is by far, when you put the effort into her, one of the strongest heroes. She is a kinetic hero, which for most people will be your main bread and butter fleet. She is a DPS type hero. So when you slot her in the first position of the ship on your roster, her skill will go off first before anybody else. And let me get to that so I can show you what I'm talking about. On the roster of your ship, positioning does matter. If you want to be somebody that hits hard and hits fast, you need to put your DPS people in the front, because their skill will proc first. She is the one that I always have in the lead position of my kinetic Graham, because her main skill does a lot of damage and it goes off a lot. When you level her up, she can do an insane amount of damage. Her skill, let's just look at it. Unyielding Decree, just so you get the idea of how awesome it is. Zora fires 8 thermal swarmer missiles for area coverage, each dealing damage equal to your int times, and the where I have her leveled up right now, 252% damage. And her damage scales a lot. Her awakening effect, missile count increases to 11. So right now, whenever her skill goes off, I shoot 11 thermal swarmer missiles at whatever I'm fighting, and you'll see their health go way down. It takes a big chunk of their health away when she gets her skill off. So you definitely want her first. Now, one of the other reasons why she is S tier all day long and is GOAT OP, Miss Awesome Pants, is because she is your #1 fleet hero, in my opinion. And she's also your #1 ground team member, in my opinion. The reason why is just because she's strong, obviously, but it's because of this ability right here, Vortex of Order. This ability is amazing for a ground battle, because whenever she throws this down, it looks like a little black hole on the screen opens up, and it starts to suck all enemies into the black hole and do damage to them all. So the way you use that skill is It's really good for doing damage to all enemies at once because it sucks any nearby enemies into the black hole and it holds them there while it does damage to them for a little while. So it's a really good skill to beat up on a lot of people at once. It can do something else for you as well, though, and it helps you position your enemies. If you're fighting a battle and you have enemies spread out all over the screen and they're surrounding you and they're coming at you and hitting you from all sides, when Zora throws down the vortex, all the enemies are sucked into the black hole, and that positions them in one place so that you can then easily turn your team around and face them and have them coming at you, and you just sit there and shoot them as they come at you, and they don't swarm you. Whenever the enemies swarm you and they start to hit you from all sides, you get in trouble fast, and you'll watch your team get melted down if you're pushing the levels of content. This ability positions the enemies for you, and it does an insane amount of damage. It's insane. It's the best skill in the game for ground battles, in my opinion. I don't see a hero with a better ground tactical ability than her. She also does 4 consecutive attacks with a knockback effect. So if you need to keep enemies out of your face, when she hits them, they'll bounce back. And she does a power up. She can power up her own damage with an increase in stats. She is by far the number 1 hero in the game, in my opinion. And she's definitely going to be S tier all day long. So, yep, that's my breakdown. And like I said, I know that these 3 heroes plus the other one that's not on this list for some reason, the really athletic looking female, I know that these 4 are amazing heroes. I get that. And I'm sorry that I don't have a lot to talk about with them because I know they're amazing. But the problem with them is these 2 are strictly pay to win. This one you can use universal shards on, I think. Let me look. Let me just look real quick before I say something about that because I don't want to speak wrong on this. You can use universal shards on her. You can't on her, so she is totally pay to win. You can't on him, so he's totally pay to win. And you can't on her, so she is as well, Ajita. So out of the 4 heroes that I really don't know a lot about because I have not got to utilize them yet, this is the only one of the other 3 that is not totally pay to win. This one, and Ajita are all pay to win heroes. These are your whale heroes. These are the heroes for the people that are going to be keeping this company in business, helping them pay the bills, helping them keep the lights on and fund development. They're going to be the ones spending a lot of money. Whenever you see these heroes fully leveled up, you better run because these are going to be the ones that are for the people that are, able to put their money where their mouth is. They will be the S tier heroes all day long. So I feel like all 4 of these that I don't have, Ajita included, for some reason her graphics not on here, I don't know. I feel like all 4 of these heroes will be S tier. It's just that I'm not at the point where I can legitimately speak about them yet. So I didn't want to add them in to that. So with that said, that is my tier list breakdown. If you've found this video interesting or entertaining, or it's helped you learn about the heroes in the game Foundation Galactic Frontier, please do me a solid and think about subscribing, liking, commenting. All that helps with the algorithm, helps push my content out to a bigger audience so that I can grow and so that we can add to the player base of the game. I'd really appreciate your help on that. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching my content. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you're having fun in Foundation Galactic Frontier, and I hope you have a great day. I'll see you in another video about Foundation Galactic Frontier coming soon. Peace. Get out there and kill something. Zora, #1.